Ugh, give me a minute. I'm like fucking setting this up. I'm getting this shit set up. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. Oh man, this is. Oh fuck. Okay. Here we go. Last minute. Oh, let's see. I gotta get this shit. I'm halfway through this. This is actually gonna be a full thing later on. Da, 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 da. Thank you, Jeremy. I only started this because I wanted to test something. Like, Teriak was going to end his stream. He didn't have anyone to raid. So I figured I'd be able to test this out a little bit. Let's see, where is this? What am I doing? Um, this here. All right, there. It's set up now. I just had the. We'll get started. What it is, Teriak gets sends everybody here. I don't know what's going on. I probably should go tell him I am live, but I don't know. That feels weird. Feels weird to do that. Da, 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 da. Hey, Rubber Ducky. I don't know. I guess I probably just should. That'd be polite, wouldn't it? I don't know. What is this? What is this etiquette? I don't know. I don't have etiquette. There, I just did it. I feel so. I'm like fucking embarrassed. Okay. I just found embarrassed. I'm just embarrassed. Okay. I'm just an embarrassing person. Ugh. Etiquette, what does that taste like? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm having to learn it lately because I'm starting to realize people. Starting to realize people don't like it when I'm mean to them when they come to my channel, even though I'm not being mean. I'm just joking with them. But apparently, I can't do that anymore. Shrimp up was never a shrimp appointment. Yeah, well, that's not necessarily true. I've been I've been thinking about retiring as the shrimp pope, just letting somebody else have it. That'd just be another shrimp of the ocean, you know. All right, let's see. I'll put this here. Put this here. Is there a new shrimp pope? I don't know yet. I don't know. We may just leave the shrimp pope throne empty. Maybe there shouldn't be a shrimp pope. What is this? All right, sorry. I'm setting up like handful of things. Just get this here, here. I need to make a whole new fucking scene, I think. I don't care. We'll just do it the rough way right now. Um. Well, okay. Well, that worked for a second. I mean, this was originally going to be something I was going to do tomorrow. Well, I was going to do a test anyways, but I know I'm just talking to loops right now. All right. We'll just go ahead and get started. All right, so fuck me. Okay, I got to remember the order in which I had all this stuff. Okay, so I have to put this here so I can actually see it, so I can actually focus on it. All right. All right, so I wanted to talk about families for a little bit because this is only going to be part of it. This is like one section of the thing that I was writing in my head tonight. But like something I've kind of observed over the course of my life, and actually when I've tried to pay attention to society itself, um, and trying to understand the problems in which has occurred that has made people incapable of like recreating like the natural family order. Like we can't even reproduce ourselves to make sure that we can maintain a balanced any kind of economy without importing massive amounts of other people. Um, and I don't think I think it's on purpose, to be honest. But I don't know if it's necessarily things like I don't know if it's necessarily conspiracy. I think it's mostly a bunch of retards. If there is some type of conspiracy that's going on, It's by like probably such a small group of people that you'd never really be able to dictate or know who they are. Maybe if it's certain, whatever. I'm not going that way. We're not going down that road. But but I could. But but when it comes to family, I think like a lot of the really simple answers that you could have with how things have gotten to the point where we're at, pretty simple. Um, it's not really it's not really the it's not really some sort of grand conspiracy shit. It's more of a bunch of social engineers who think they can build a ever increasing powerful economy that's unbeatable and will never be beaten by anything as long as it can manipulate a people or a populace into just maximizing the amount of money that they have and then take advantage of other nations that don't have this idea running through their society and them produce the people that would be integrated into ours. That's a system in which heavily relies on other nations to be having a mass amount of children, right? And doesn't really work in practice because, first of all, more the internet, I think, has altered the way that a lot of economic systems have worked. So whatever plan that they had, I think the internet kind of messed with it some. So it becomes this very popular idea for each nation. They see the success of that style of economics, and they in turning the populace into money making tax machines, and they make it into and they want to do it. They want to do that as well. They want to make a lot of money. They want to create a successful economy. And in that aspect, they kind of they socially engineer people. They try to get people to have different types of moral foundations that are simpler to control and easier to maintain in the grand idea of make more money, buy new things, contribute to economy. But here we'll just go through some of the pictures I made. I don't like all of them, so I rushed through it. But so look, this is the way things work, right? There's people that are the ones who make a shit that make all that want to make all the money off of you, the politicians, right? They want to produce. They want to take out the things that bring you priorities away from just making money, and they want to take that away from you, give you these things. They want to take away your love of God, your desire to build families, and your desire to physically take care of your loved ones on your own. And what that means is like they want you to put people in daycare, they want you to use nursing homes, they want you to do all these things that over the course of history you would have to do yourself. You would have to take care of your grandma when she got too old to take care of herself, your mom when she got too old to take care of herself. You'd have to always make sure that you had some way of being sure that you maintain the safety of your children yourself. You had to do all these things, or they had to become communal things in which you had to have close knit bonds with the town that you live in. But you don't need that anymore because it's all been prophesied, like not prophesied, but made profitable. They offer you a service which that takes you away from that duty that you have to your family, to your loved ones, to your children, to all that. And what happens is because they've done that, they've made it very easy for you to make more money. So it's kind of like you've got these two opposite ends of the age spectrum, right? The old people, the young people. You've taken away the responsibility of taking care of old people. They make money off of that from the taxpayer and from the people actually putting them in the nursing homes and paying for them. But they also make money off of taking care of children by putting them in the schooling system or daycare services. And they privatize. They make it to where it's very easy to just maximize the amount of money that you make and not really have to think about it. Which is a danger because, first of all, it makes you morally soft. It takes away the idea that you have to be prepared to take care of your mother when she's too old to be able to take care of herself, or your father when he gets too old to take care of himself. It takes away that moral duty that you have to your family. So they end up, by that effect, they end up creating um, like they end up making families obsolete in a way. Because if you don't need anybody to take care of your children, that you don't need to even how do I word this? Sorry, I'm like trying to figure this out. I had most of this written out, but like I'm not super done with it. But they attack certain aspects of the family too, to make it seem as though you not only do you not need to take care of those responsibilities, it also leads into this idea that you don't even need to take those responsibilities in because of how much it would cost. So how much does a daycare system cost for your children? Well, it costs about, you know, half of one of your paychecks. So why even have a child? And then it becomes, well, it's really expensive to even take care of a child as well. That adds on to that thing. So it's more like almost more than half of one of your paychecks. So why would you do this? Because of cost benefit analysis that will ultimately lead to, if you do not have a moral duty to have children, into thinking that it's just a cost, that there's no actual benefit to it. There's no reason to have children, especially when you think about how you're going to grow older, that you might need somebody to take care of you. Well, if you make enough money, you can afford to pay somebody to take care of you when you get older and when you're retired, or you could have somebody, or you'll be fine. You'll just be put in a home and you won't really worry about it. One of those two things. Or sometimes people don't even think about it. They just get to that point in their old age and they're just like trapped in this situation where they have no choice. They're put in a home. So because there's no responsibilities within that kind of structure anymore, and because we've made it so easy to ignore them, and because one seems to just become a cost when you do this, and the other just seems to be something that'll happen, and it's not really something you got to worry about right now. You got to worry about paying your power bill and buying the new, I don't know, new thing that's just come out. To go see the new movie, go see, uh, I don't know, just like anything really. Just go do, have experiences, spend money, do everything, maximize your life experience rather than the fulfillment of your life. So they remove fulfillment and put in place, put experience, and claim that that's fulfillment when it really isn't. It's just a collection of things you've done. And it may be exciting in the moment, but ultimately it does not change much. It doesn't lead to a more fulfilling life. It just leads to a more experienced life. And so then when it comes to this kind of stuff, so look, um, when they make you assume that, they have the cost of having children is so terrible, they remove and don't even allow you to even consider what having the child is. Having a child is not just about it's never really even about the cost itself, like the money, the hours that you have to put into making sure of their well-being, any of those things. The fulfillment that comes out of it is the love that's shared between the couple, which is the hopeful thing, even though in society now it seems like that's kind of fallen apart a good bit for other reasons as well, because like a children take away from any kind of economic gain that our society could get out of women. So having a child for somebody that's in our nation already becomes burdensome for the system itself rather than beneficial. Now, you would say, well, yeah, but that's in the short term. In the long term, obviously, it's going to be a problem. Well, they replace that with immigration, right? So they push you, so they forget about, they make you forget about what marriage is supposed to be, the purpose of it, and the idea that everything within it is supposed to be an expression of sacrificial love, that you are meant to sacrifice yourself to your wife and your wife to you, and you are both to sacrifice yourself for your children, that they make you just not even comprehend what family life is like. They replace that idea and put it in with, well, this is just a thing you do because it's just part of society, and because you do this thing, you need to make more money to provide for this thing and spend more money. And then as things progress within that idea, it becomes, well, why would you even have a kid at all? You could just make even more money without having the child and buy more things. And not only would you have more money to buy on more things because you don't have to spend money on the child, you'll have even more money because you can work more hours. So it's a logical way of thinking about it within the short term. And if you're thinking about it in a way that, well, anybody is any, you could replace any person with any other person as long as you give them the proper amount of education. It doesn't really matter about their cultural upbringing. It just matters about how much you can train them to do a certain task. Then it becomes very easy to see how they fall into that trap hole of thinking that they can make a functional society which relies on third world nations having the mass majority of the children. And it becomes like a caste system too, like Africa, the Middle East, all these places just become the baby baskets of the world. They just import as many of them as they can, and it would work economically speaking, but they don't understand the cultural differences in which they don't value necessarily the maximization of money. They may just care about making enough money to send back home, which would also take probably arguably more money away from the nation than it would provide by making sure that people here already don't have children. Which is a weird thing because at the end of the day, it's people and societies that make more money that are having less kids, which counterproductive to the point, which is wild, yeah. Thinks that, yeah, it's a strange thing, but it's also like they've put in these ideas within the nation and within people. They've done it to men and women. It's not just women that think this way, it's men as well. You've got the Andrew Tates of the world that kind of fulfill that kind of idea at the extremes of what masculinity is, which is just bang a lot of chicks and make a lot of money. But once you remove that idea of what love is supposed to be sacrificial for everybody, then it creates very small families, or families that are families that are either very small and don't like add to the population growth, which could be somewhat okay as long as people are having at least slightly above replacement rate. It's fine. It's not a super big danger unless you build your whole economy around growth, which the majority are. Which is why I don't think that importing a bunch of other people from third world countries is going to work, because our America's pretty fucking big and it needs a lot of people. It's just going to start swallowing up most of the third world's babies, and then it's also going to have to compete with other nations that's going to want to have them. And plus, it also doesn't mean that they're going to culturally integrate. It's going to cause social what's it called? It's going to cause social conflict. So like they don't actually understand what they're even doing. Like they don't actually understand the cultural aspect. These are just economic dorks trying to solve problems and maximize money. Well, thank you, Terry. I kind of got lost in what I was talking about. I don't even know how long ago that was. Oh, like a minute. Okay, so I didn't stop paying attention for too long. But yeah. So they think it's very simple. It's not very simple. You can't replace people having children in our nation with foreign people. You can't do it because it creates a cultural conflict eventually that could lead it to even types of civil war. So but anyways, that's like the end result. That's not everything that they've done. That's just what they've done about children and elderly people, right? But they've even destroyed the idea of what, marriage is. Marriage has become something that is a part of the church to a state tax benefit. They don't actually make, um, they don't actually give you much for being married, which I mean, it's not a state issue thing. The state really has no business about marriage at all, besides knowing who is and who isn't married. That's the only thing that they really have any sort of business in marriage at all. That's the only thing that they should have any idea about. Well, that's the only portion of marriage they should be a part of. And then they've also kind of changed they've changed like the whole idea of what marriage is, which is just two people coming together to make more money. That's to buy more things. That's what marriage is now in America. It's not about, and that's why people don't even actually get legally married anymore. And they're just like live-in couples that just are like perma couples. They're just boyfriend and girlfriend forever. That's why they don't get married anymore. Is because it's lost its sacramental value. It's lost its moral value. It's lost its place in society because the state itself has taken it over. Give me those vows work to the government? Nope. Sorry to tell you. But they've destroyed marriage. They destroyed the idea of marriage in the average person's head. They've made basically families just socially unacceptable because why would you have family when you could have more stuff? Why have two kids when you could have I don't know, two Mercedes? Why have two kids when you could I don't know, go to the Bahamas or some shit? Like it's stupid, silly shit. It can even be reduced down to why have kids when you can buy a new video game each week? Like it's a ridiculous way of seeing the world that has been infected in the majority of people, especially in my generation. They just don't think about it. They don't think it's just something that, you know, it's just something that never really crosses their mind. It's not something that's a goal or a purpose for them, you know. It even being married, even when it's without children, is not a bad thing. Being married in a sacramental sense is good. There are still positives to being married, even if you're in a marriage that cannot produce children, because it's a calling to a certain type of life. But they have basically destroyed it in that sense. And what was the next point? I had some of these written down. Let me find them. I think I actually went to the conclusion a little bit too quick. But they've done that. And within marriage itself, they've also destroyed the idea of what, and this is what I mean by destroying the morals of, they destroyed the morals of what it even means to be married. They've reduced it down to just economic, like, they just reduced it down to economic ideas and just be together to have more stuff. And then why? And then the logical conclusion that is why even get married to begin with if it's just about making more money together and saving money. Why not just get roommates? Why not just have a live-in girlfriend? Why not just have a bunch of live-in couples live together and spend more money on random shit you don't need? And one of the ideas that I've actually been doing a lot of research on because I'm tempted to challenge somebody to like an actual debate about this topic because it seems like nobody understands it. And I'm about to get into my controversial view and the argument I've been preparing for why sex within marriage means sex of only one type. Like there's only there's just one way of doing it. Sorry, only one way. P and V only. But but yeah, here I'm gonna get to the fuck me. Why did I do that? But this is the idea that has been kind of put into our society, right? Hairdresses even all the way around her body. Yeah, I know. Strips are weird. They don't dress properly. Sometimes they just lose stuff. I'm trying to get a hold of them. They get a little wild though. But the idea of what society puts to us right now is sex is fun. Consenting adults should do it whenever they want. And they don't even have a real good idea of what consent means or how it really applies. It's totally and completely incoherent. And within my worldview and my understanding of what a marriage is, consent, marriage is God's consent for the man and woman to share the marital relations as he intended. So, in that idea, we'll go to the next one. Why do I do, they're secular. Why do I need God's consent to do what I like? Your view on sex removes your view removes the purpose of sex, which is to have children and to never reject God's good works by giving you children, or by giving you a child, if he wills it within the act that he has designed it for. So that just means, like people don't actually understand what they're engaging with. They don't understand what the relationship and the marital act is. They think that it's just whatever makes each other feel good, which is not what it truly is. I mean, it's a part of it, but it's not the end all be all. It's not the purpose of it. It is a purpose to get. Okay, whatever. I don't have that part completely worked out. But anyways, next one. So sex is only purpose for having children. No, it's also for the bonding of the husband and wife, but that does not justify the unnatural or immodest acts. EV only. Sorry. That's it. That's the only modest act that can be had. And, then it just goes down to what is the immodest act? A violation, abuse of the body. And the last one, or the violation of the body. It violates the purpose of the bowels, partake in nutrients for the body, and the abuse of the mouth to provide vain pleasure. All right, now we're done with that part. I had to rush through that. I was starting to blush. I was starting to get, I started to get a little bit, whoopsie. Why am I talking about this? But they've reduced that part of marriage to the point where it's just so vain and insane that there's no real idea of like limitations within it. And it destroys marriages because it makes it about pleasure seeking rather than doing what it's designed for, which is to produce children. And even if you cannot produce children, you should not remove the ability for that possible act to occur. It is not ultimately your choice whether or not you have a child. It is up to God whether or not you produce a child from that act. So, and even then, it's an immodest thing to perform all of those extra things. It's immodest. It's not correct. It's abuse of the body. Because marriage was the only way I could trick her to stay with me. But yeah, like ultimately, that's where it all kind of like goes. Now we got to figure out what I'm gonna do, because that's like the first, like, I don't know, 20 minutes of a 2-hour thing I have planned for later on tomorrow. But yeah. But that's ultimately what's happened. Like, society has destroyed marriages in that key aspect. Society has attacked the idea of having children, has attacked the idea of even having to worry about getting older, has attacked the idea that you even need to do anything, you need to even perform any duties, because if you make enough money, you can divert your duty to somebody else. It makes it where society ultimately kind of starts tearing itself apart from a very root level ideas. It makes it impossible for a self-replicating society, and relies on other societies that have older views that maintain the population to survive. And all it is to make money get bigger, economy larger, make things, just buy more things, do more things. So is it a sin when a leftist spews massive amounts of dollars from their mouths or the account of its medical? Well, the problem with that is that left wing people don't really have any idea of what actually is good or bad because they've diverted everything down to individual preferences. So they have lost themselves in this delusion, this circular reasoning that they think that because it is what I want to do, it should be done. They put themselves in a purpose loop. A purpose loop. Where they give themselves their own purpose, and it's their purpose because it's their purpose. And their purpose is to have preferences. And they prefer that their purpose be preferences. So it's all fucking gay. Just a fail to tip at lower humor. I know. I'm in serious mode right now. But yeah, like but even within here, I got another part we could go through. But even with the idea of like the family itself, when you're working and all you are working for more things. I don't know how it is for most men, but for me, working to have more stuff kind of means nothing. I have more stuff, yeah, I could be home and be slightly less bored. Means nothing to me. Like I gotta have all this stuff. My computer could blow up today, and tomorrow I end up living in a box outside of my job. I wouldn't care. I honestly wouldn't care. It might be annoying when it's raining or storm a little bit. That's about it. I'd go to work just to provide for the family that I had, even if I had to be separate from them or I had nothing. The only thing that I would earn money for is to make sure that my family is well taken care of. That's the purpose that I give working. Without it, it doesn't really mean much. Like even within this stuff that I do online, right? This stuff is to just a means to an end, really. It's a job, kind of. I enjoy it. It's fun, but it is a job in a way. I'm curious, do you see the degradation of marriage as part of the devil's plan to push people away from the church? I think it's just one of the many things. One of the many things is probably one of the bigger things because obviously marriage is a good thing, and any type of demonic influence is going to push people away that which is good. These pictures, right? Yeah, we're the shrimp verse. Everyone's shrimps now. You should probably go look at a mirror. But there's that, and then there's even like the idea, like something else I wanted to talk about. You know what's really fucking gay? Society has destroyed romance. Romance is based, okay? Romance is awesome. Romance is one of the things that gives life color. It's the whole idea of like fucking, it's the idea of like seeing the growing of something. It's the idea of seeing the growing of love and the growing self-sacrificial acts between one another. And it's also cool to go fucking see a sunset every once in a while. Have a girl lean on your shoulder, look over at a fucking riverbed, It's nice. It's nice, okay? Nothing wrong with that. But everybody keeps making this shit all gay and sexual and shit. Get that shit out of here. Keep that for marriage. But a lot of what people have reduced down to any type of romantic gestures or anything, a lot of the right have made, and this is another idea that's kind of attacked families, right? Hold on. They make, like society right now, we live in this place where everything is kind of like business oriented. Marriages are business oriented. If you do this, I'll do that. What is the word for it? Transactional. Everything has become transactional. Marriage has become transactional. Friendships have become transactional. Everything has become this fake form of love that is ultimately selfish. All friendships that I'll ever have, I have my opinions. My opinions about stuff doesn't really affect what my friendships are. But like there's always going to be times where you have to pick up your brother, you have to carry your wife on your back, you have to do these things, and you're going to get nothing for it. You're probably going to lose something for it. So when we've come to this point in society where I'm not going to do anything for you because you haven't done anything for me lately. It's very self-centered, prideful, and kind of destroys the fabric of society as well, because cultures like our places like communities are supposed to be sacrificial, and when they do this, they remove the sacrificial aspect of communities and replace it with economics. They replace it with um, instead of, hey, I got eggs here, I've got way too many eggs to give you, here's a few extra. They've replaced that with, I got a few extra eggs here that I'm never going to use. You could pay me $5 for them or something. And is there anything really wrong with that? Not necessarily, but it does have an effect on the character of the person. Charity is good, even when you think that person doesn't deserve charity. Even if that person has a lot, offering a fucking few free eggs is beneficial for you and even that other person. In just the way that you view the world, or just in the way that anything kind of works in that type of way. If I have a friend, I have a few extra eggs and I give it to them. That's good. I don't need him to bring me fucking, I don't know, a fucking basket of berries or strawberries the other next day. It's kind of silly. Wait, a river or prawn from rivers? Well, prawns, yeah, prawns are from rivers, but shrimps like to hang out sometimes in rivers. We could hang out on rivers, not live in them though. People think romance is gay. I don't get it. Well, this is the problem with romance. It's been turned into two different things. Um, Romance has become either this very hollow, kind of weird um, movie type of thing where it's like really fucking nutty people doing absolutely insane shit and creating these relationships that are absolutely hyperbolic and insane, and it fools some people into thinking, oh, that's romance. We need to have these hyper emotional types of flailings, I guess. Like we have to have these intense arguments that are world ending, and you got to chase that fucking train, boy. Ah, fuck that. I have an argument that's bad enough. You get on a train, I see you. Good luck, have fun. I don't give a fuck. But it turns a lot of that turns things into very self-centered ideas of what love is, and very paranoid and pathologic ways of what love should be. Where it's like obsession, it's based on obsession. Obsession is not love. Obsession is lust. Obsession is lust. Romance is, um, I don't know, picking a fucking flower, handing it to your girl. It's walking down a damn beach holding hands. It's coming home from doing something and your husband or your wife just gives you, like, here's a glass of water. Why don't you sit down and relax? That's romance. That's caring for each other. That's loving each other. That's building something. That's laying the bricks, not only the foundations, but building the house atop that foundation for a home. That's what everything is built off of. Is my idea that I'm defining as romance. So it is a very strange thing that people have lost that and replace it with a transactional attitude towards everything. I bring you big bags money. You bring me baby. It is retarded. It's a silly idea, but it's coherent. It makes sense. It's just morally fucked up. Romance is just making your partner feel wanted. I don't know. Like I guess that would be part of it. I just wouldn't define it exactly as that. It's more of I don't know if it's even really it's like a fucking feeling, you know? Not to get too gay about it. It's just like a feeling. It's like what I was debating Avers that one time. Like you don't. It's not something that you could truly ever really understand. You just know it's happening when it's happening. And also, like, I don't know if it's even being wanted necessarily, because I think being romantic, even in a sense, is like knowing um, how to take a lot of shit, take a lot of shit from somebody, because you have to be willing to take a lot of shit from just about anyone that you want to be in a relationship with. You have to be willing to take a lot of shit. At least in my experience with pretty much every relationship I've ever been in. Not every single one of them, but most of them. Like some of the stuff isn't even really taking shit. Some of it's like just rationally understanding, um, and being reasonable about stuff and things like that. But anyways, I'm gonna move on from that part of it. Let me see. What was the other thing that I had? Hell, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I had prepared for what I'm going to talk about later on tonight or tomorrow night. Hell, I thought Kira doesn't fucking stream till like 6 o'clock. I thought it was 5:30 when Teriyak was ending. That was my fault. And Doom's not here to provide me with memes, so I have to figure something out. Kira is live, I'm pretty sure. Is he? I don't think so. What the fuck was that? What did I just click? Why is AI taking over my fucking browser? Actually spelled Kira Markin. I just fucking spelled Kira Markin again. Let's see. He is live. I didn't know that.
Right.
What the fuck did he start? Oh, he's been on for like 15 minutes. Thank God. That was lucky. It usually takes till 6 o'clock to start. But yeah, this is pretty much just like an idea that I had that I'm going to make a show out of at some point. This is just the first rough draft of it. I'm going to start doing these probably every Sunday night and Wednesday nights. Maybe not this week, but starting next week. Maybe tomorrow, probably not. Still try to figure out if I want to. But I'm going to raid you guys to Kieran, and I'm going to go to sleep. I don't know what gay shit he's doing on there, so be prepared. No telling what happens there. But y'all have a good one. And I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Hold on. I just noticed that Dave, I'm sorry, Dave. I wasn't ignoring you. I didn't have it on live chat. I'll answer these things. I just tried that argument with a friend of mine. He was saying how gay it was to hang out with a family and then go fishing. I asked him, so it's less gay to want to hang out with a dude, yeah. A lot of people like to say communication is gay. Communication is great. Yeah, sorry, Dave. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I just had it on fucking top chat for some reason. It just didn't show yours. But see ya. I'm going to sleep now.